Hi guys, you are welcome to Nez Telly. This is Nez. I am Nez. Hi. It's nice to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we are going to be discussing the book I Wish I Knew This Earlier. And boy, when I tell you, reading the book on its own even made me feel like I wish I knew this earlier. The level of insight into how do I put it, emotional intelligence in this book is everything, right? It's a book by Toni Tung. I didn't know who she was. I think I noticed it was on TikTok. I found out that her boyfriend is someone I follow, or her man is someone I follow on TikTok. So I was like, okay, is that Toni Tung? I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know who she was because Toni Tung, me, I know is the actor, the one that acted Smart Money Woman and what's the other film again? King of Boys. Nigerian movies, by the way. So I didn't know who this person was. She's a British American author. Apparently, I think she has podcasts and she has a show somewhere in the UK, you know, and all that. But the bottom line is that this book is like the level of education that I got from this book it was wonderful. I don't think I felt this educated. And it was brought to my attention by Squid because I had listened to What a Time to Be Alone. So I guess it makes sense. What a Time to Be Alone was also a very insightful book. This book was shared into 3 pieces. She talked about, she was talking about like your emotions, but when it comes to emotional relationships, romantic relationships. So it was broken into 3 parts. Part 1 was dating. Part 2 was loving. And part 3 was the breakup. So, is it heartbreak? Yes, that's what she called that one. Heartbreak was part 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the one thing I remember from all 3 parts, and then hopefully I'll convince you to go and pick it up and read it. The book is very new. I'm talking of, like, I think it's 2022. That's this year, or maybe just last year. I wish I knew this earlier. Of course, the book is going to be here so you can see it. So, first of all, before we start the whole thing, she said something. She said if you can afford it, get therapy. Therapy is just so you can know who you are. Do you understand? Know your triggers, know why you act the way you do. You know, of course, therapy is expensive, especially if you're going to get a good therapist. Therapy is very expensive. But it's money well spent if you can afford it. If you cannot afford it, then try and get educated about yourself. Take their free online tests you can take to find out about your emotions, your connection style, your relationship style, your leadership style, your parenting style, the kind of person that you've become. So you can know that way. It's easy for you to know the possibility. There's things that you need to like walk away from, right? And then when you act a certain way, you know that you acted that way because of something, not necessarily so that you can push. Because the problem that comes with this whole therapy thing, I think, is usually people know who they are, then insist that everybody should act accordingly to them. You don't insist. Do you understand? If you find out something about yourself and you find yourself always in that particular situation, learn to remove yourself from there. Enough of that. Part 1, which is dating. Yes, in dating, she talked about your comfort zone. I think this one I found very interesting. She said during therapy, one of the interesting things you find out about yourself is what your comfort zone is. Some people, and you know, some people prefer a relationship that is chaotic. The thing is that they don't know. Some people cannot, like if a relationship is too calm and too chill for a month or 2, they start to become edgy and agitated. They feel like something is wrong. Do you understand? Sometimes it stems from where you grew up, your environment, or things that you fed into your mind, you know, and all that. But that's a reality. The reality is that chaos is the way you understand relationship. For relationship to work well, there has to be bouts of jealousy, bouts of shouting, bouts of arguments. Different things must happen. There must be drama. So it's like, even if you're not doing it intentionally, you don't have a tendency to just want to create drama just so that something can happen. Now, there's no, how do I put it? No judgment. Nobody is saying this is wrong. Nobody is saying it's good. But it's good that you know that that's who you are. But understand that your comfort zone is not always the best place for you. Sometimes for you to be able to thrive and do well, to end up in very mature, meaningful relationships, whether as friends or as family members or as a romantic partner, you need to learn to understand what your real comfort zone is. If it is problematic, if it is chaotic for you, you have to be able to learn to stop it, remove yourself, and prefer something less problematic. Do you understand? So that was from part 1, which is dating. Part 2, which is loving. This loving part was one that really opened my mind. She talked about the dangers of marrying someone with potential or dating someone with potential, choosing to be with someone with potential. She actually linked it to the idea of the struggle love. The term struggle love usually refers to the incidence of women putting up with numerous infidelities and disrespect from their partners. It pays homage to the ride or die chick. Let's continue. If you've watched a lot of African American movies, you know that there's a lot of struggle love in it. Like, I don't want to give examples, but they exist. That's what I'm saying. A lot of Black African American movies that you've seen from, let's say, the late 90s to, that's romantic movies, to like 2010 thereabouts, a lot of them are bordered on struggle love. It's about these women that work their ass off to be with this man, and you know this man is up to nothing. Do you understand? And after plenty work and all that, the woman now gets her gift, her present, her prize of being a good woman, which is now having this made man that she has literally made, and that is our idea of love. So she was like that. That's the idea of struggle love is stemmed from the idea of marrying for potential. She explained marrying for potential as a form of obsession. Yes, because what obsession does is that obsession removes the reality in front of it or him or her, and changes it into something that isn't. When somebody is obsessed with you, they have a tendency to feel like you have no flaw. Meanwhile, we all know that you're flawed. So when someone is obsessed with you, everything you do tends to, it means something else in that person's head. So when you marry someone for potential, you stop seeing the person for who they are, because all you're seeing is the possibility of what they can be. Meanwhile, let's be honest, you cannot really make someone to be what they don't want to be. It's them that will decide. Just because you saw potential doesn't mean that's what that person is going to be. The person might have the potential to do it. I mean, don't you have potential to do some things and you've just not done it? Do you understand? So if you look at it that way, you understand that marrying someone for potential is actually being with somebody, loving someone for their potential is very problematic. Some people have been in a relationship for people that are abusive to them because they believe that they have the potential to stop being mean to them or being abusive to them emotionally, sexually, physically, mentally, everything. But all of them, they be like they have potential. The popular one is the financial one. When you marry someone that doesn't have any money now, but because they've shown you a few things about themselves, you believe that this person is up to something, they can do something, and you just run with it, you know. But usually you find out that years down the line, that's if you last that many years down the line into this relationship, you realize that you made up, if you're willing to come to attention with yourself, you start to realize that you made up a lot of scenarios in your own head. That person was not present. So when you now be like, but you're supposed to do this, person was like, no, I never discussed that with you. Meanwhile, somewhere in your head you've created a whole thing of this possibility. So marrying for potential or looking at someone just for the potential is very similar to being obsessed with somebody. That is very problematic. That's number 2. Number 3, which is like number 3 is, that's in how do you call it, heartbreak or breakup, one of them, is that you should know yourself well enough to not change who you are because you're hurt in a relationship. This one, I think, is something I think we've kind of normalized a lot, where somebody cheats on you, you decide to go and cheat the person back. The person went and had an affair. So in order to get even with the person, you decide to go and have your own affair somewhere to hurt the person. Will you hurt the person? It depends on who the person is and how the relationship is, because sometimes you have a relationship in your head, you even know. It depends on how the person is. The person actually might not care about you anymore to even be bothered by you cheating. However, you've hurt yourself by going to be in a relationship with somebody or going to sleep with somebody who you have no business being with. But you see, it is ridiculous when the reason why you're doing something is because of somebody else's action. You get. The reason why therapy is very important is that you know yourself well enough to know that once this particular thing is not doable and it's not okay, you pack yourself, dust your hands and your bottom and step. Instead of saying, oh, so that you can do something back. Some people go and do beating, some people crash cars, some people, see, don't let yourself be removed from who you are on top of, because you're inside the relationship. You understand? Because you do some things that will hurt yourself years down the line. Personally, she said it in the book, and personally I realized that it's true. I don't know anybody that cheated on someone else because somebody cheated on them that went on to feel better about it later. Do you understand? And that's usually years later. They'll be like, this person I slept with that time, oh, just to get along with that person is now causing wahala in my life. Some people have caught STDs, that's the physical part. Some people have got STDs, some people have caught stalkers, have stalkers following them up and down because they slept with the person. I don't know if you understand. Just to prove a point. And the point has been proven to the other person, but your life won't go. Do you understand? This one, I feel like it is something I think we should all quickly get to the point where we stop doing it real quick. You know, have enough self-respect for yourself. Do you understand? Have enough awareness and enough knowledge about yourself to know that, see, if this person is misbehaving, it's time for you to get up and go. Don't do this bad, do me, I do you, but in a negative space, in a negative way. Don't do because somebody did it to me, they did it to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And this book, I think, is really worth the read. Do you understand? I'll see how sober it made me. But honestly, the book excited me when I read it. And there's just so much to learn from the book. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye now.